Hello again, beloved. I'm Jessica. I make faith-based content here on YouTube to encourage, uplift, and inform for God's glory and to help in various ways. Today is a little different because God gave me a dream a couple days ago, and usually the dream is specifically for me and only for me, and we talk about it, and he reveals what he wants to through that. But it's all private, so I usually don't share my dreams with anyone for that very reason, because it was between us and it was something he wanted me to ponder in my heart like Mary did, to build my faith, or to give me a warning or what have you. But this was a little bit different. So it was it was a crazy dream. And the next morning I woke up and I immediately was asking God, like, what just happened? Honestly, like, did this really just happen in this dream? This is crazy. Um, and he simply said in my spirit, you passed the test. And I immediately thought, well, thanks, I guess, but I wasn't aware that I was even being tested in my dreams, because, you don't really know how much control you have in your dreams. Um, some people do some off the wall stuff in their dreams, and, subconsciously they don't even know what's going on. But for me, it's been a little bit different because I could be asleep and in a dream and still be completely aware um, that I'm in control. So in my dreams, I wouldn't really do anything crazy because I'm still very conscious that I'm in control, you know. Um, so even in my dreams, which is kind of weird, but even in my dreams, I try to make the best decisions. Um, and in this particular dream, I'll go ahead and jump into it. Um, in the dream, I meet this guy, and he's very attractive. He's like a Hanes model. He's just beautiful, and he's tall, dark, and handsome. He's a really intelligent man. He's full force into whatever business he's doing. You can tell he does the white collar suit and tie. He's very successful. I mean, in the dream, he had this huge mansion, and he had like multiple cars, and he had a lot of riches, you know. Um, and apparently we were dating for a little while. It seems like 5 or 6 months in the dream. And um, halfway through the dream, I had convinced myself that it was what I wanted, that it was okay with me, that this is the life I'd always dreamed about. Because for some reason, I mean, I never really cared too much about riches, but that was a really nice mansion. I mean, it was a gated community, and it was beautiful. He had a pool, he had all that stuff, and he wanted to get married, and I just said yes. It was a huge ring, like, come on now. But I said yes automatically, and I was numb inside. Like, I had convinced myself, like, you know, I'll be happy. That's all I need. I got everything I've ever dreamed of. That's all I really wanted. So, in this dream, I'm walking it out. I'm living out these days, doing all these things that I always dreamed about, traveling and, shopping without any concern. All the stuff a woman would want. Um, or you'd think she would want, at least. But in the dream, like, I was living it up, honestly. Like, I had everything I could possibly want, and I literally had nothing that I could think of that I didn't have. I mean, if I could think it, I automatically got it. It was just there. And the day of the wedding, um, we were in this huge church. It was a beautiful church too. I mean, it was traditional, and it was like city blocks long. It was so big, and like the decor was just so exquisite, and everyone there was dressed in their most beautiful formal wear. And I had a dress that was just, it's just amazing. It was, I couldn't take my eyes off the dress. It was so pretty, and it was like certain parts were embroidered, and it was just so fancy and beautiful. And it was like 10 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, and everybody was ready, and I could see in the view ahead of me that he was down at the altar fixing his I don't, what do you call it? It's not his tie, his because he was in a tux, so whatever that is. And so I was standing next to this woman who was wearing, she was beautiful too, by the way. Everybody there was beautiful. And it's like I knew them all, but I wasn't related to any of them, which didn't even dawn on me. But there was this woman beside me. She was in this beautiful red dress, and she was so kind, but you could tell that there was a sadness about her. I didn't know why. But we were talking, and she was just so sweet. And she was telling me how I'm going to love my life, and how everything was going to be wonderful, and how I'll never need for anything. And, I was like, yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, in the inside, I was completely numb, though. And I, at one point, was like, you know what, I need to sit down for a minute. you know. So that's what I did. I sat down for a minute in the dream, and I spoke to the Holy Spirit. And he reminded me, I mean, he just brought back all these feelings that I had, and they were wonderful. They were beautiful feelings, but they weren't for the man at the altar. And I just said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I couldn't do it. So I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what, this is not even worth it. The money's not worth it. The life is not worth it. None of that is worth it. That's not what I want. I just kept telling myself, I want love. Like, I want that love that God, has in store for me. And I wanted that can't live without someone love, not just money or cars or all of that stuff that you would think people, would be so happy about. So I go back to the girl in the red dress, and I bare my soul to her. I tell her, I can't do this. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because I don't love him, and he doesn't love me, and we're not meant to be. I said, I can't do this. I want love. I want real love. And she started crying, and she said, thank you. And I said, why? And she said, because she loved him. So I took off the wedding gown, and I gave it to her, and she put it on, and it fit her too, which is kind of odd because she's smaller than me, but okay. And then I took the red dress from her, and I put it on, and I went to the back, and I climbed up some service area, and I got to the top of the balcony where all the guests were, on her side, oddly, but I took her side, and I jumped up there and climbed over, and I watched from above instead, as a witness of the wedding. And I was so relieved in this dream. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't do this, because I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. And that's when I woke up from the dream, and I immediately was like, what just happened? In this weird dream, I'm like I don't even know this guy, but I'd been dating him for months, and I decided to marry him because, he had everything that I thought I wanted. And then I got down to the last 10 minutes right before I was going to walk down the aisle, and I realized I can't do it because love wasn't involved, and that's the foundation of everything. That's the most important part. And that's when God said, "You passed the test." And I didn't even know what he meant, but I was like, okay. And he wanted me to share that dream as well. So that must mean that there's someone that has considered that lifestyle, who wanted to settle for that above love, or has convinced themselves that love doesn't matter, as long as they get the money and they get the car and they get the mansion and they get all the material things and they're well off or secure, that love is not a major factor. But that is a lie from the enemy. Love is the most beautiful thing, honestly. I would rather live in poverty with someone I love more than anything, than to be rich and without love. I can't imagine living that life, honestly. And like, this dream felt real. I mean, it didn't seem like I would wake up from it. It felt like it was a real, it was definitely real. But it was so vivid. And I don't even know where these like images came from, because I've never seen a movie anything like it. I've never seen a church like the one I was in. Um, I've probably seen a guy like that. I mean, there's a lot of handsome men out there. Um, but it just didn't matter. I mean, none of it mattered other than love. That was the foundation that I was looking for. Um, and he also revealed to me that he was preparing that foundation for me. That there's a spouse out there, a kingdom spouse out there. I already know them. But he's not only preparing me, but he's preparing them. And right now it's the foundation. Um, but apparently I took a test that I didn't even know was a test in a dream. And I passed it, thank God. I did want to go ahead and share that with you guys, though, because he told me to. Honestly, I try to only share what he tells me to or instructs me to, because I'm pretty private as it is. Like, I would prefer to keep all my business to myself, but that's just not how God does it. And when he told me he was doing a new thing in me, I honestly didn't expect him to start stretching me in such a way. I've just never been the kind of person to jump in front of a camera, or record anything, unless it's like for the benefit of showing it during, like, to be a witness, an eyewitness for someone. Um, if some crime occurs or what have you, I'll definitely video that for their benefit. But I was never the person, even when my friends would gather around and take a photo. If you go back to those photos, I was the one all the way in the back, and I kind of didn't even want to be in the photo. I didn't want to be seen at all. I was very happy being the supportive one, even in my line of work, in customer service. I didn't want to be the one front and center. I was always the one that would send someone out there, much like Moses and Aaron, and have them speak. And then I would just be in the background like, yep, I support that. I'm with it. I agree, But God had other plans, and he didn't want me to stay in the back. Still not comfortable with it. I'm hoping that either I get comfortable with it or I just get over the fact that I'm not comfortable with it. Either way, I'm going to be obedient because I'm 100% committed to God and my purpose, and I need to stay faithful in whatever He tells me to do. So no matter how I feel or what I think or what anyone else thinks, I'm going to choose God and His instruction over everything else. So when He told me to share, I was like, okay, I was going to do it in a few days. But I didn't want to forget the details of the dream. So I went ahead and jumped on to do it today. And I hope it encourages and helps someone to know that settling is not an option. I mean, it may be an option for you, but it's not an option you want, honestly. You want what God has for you. And believe me, God has something for everyone. If you go to Him and say, Lord, what do you have for me? He will start you on that path if you're not already on it. And He will be faithful to complete it as well. He's not going to put you on a path and then halfway there decide to change His mind. He is faithful and trustworthy. And I'm learning more every day that He's fully in control, and at His appointed time, all things will come to pass. There's nothing the enemy can do to stop it. So I'm putting my full confidence in God, and I'm stepping out every time He tells me to, no matter what. And I wanted to share that and encourage that you don't want to settle. You do want love. You know, when it comes to marriage, you don't want just money or fame or material items or security. You want love. You want, nothing can beat that. Honestly, there's nothing out there that can overcome love. Love never fails. Um, anyway, I do hope you have a wonderful evening. It's Sunday, so I'm going to rest up. And God bless. Oh, and if you want to leave a comment or a prayer request, I'll also respond to that.